Hey, all, my name is Kurt, and I'm here with Trenton. Welcome to SLB Basement Bourbon Bar, and today is Trent's big day.
I'm looking forward to this video because I know what's in it, and it's not Scotch. It's not as bad, though, for you because you kind of like rye.
I do.
And it's the rye to you isn't like Scotch is to me.
No,
so you're pulling out ahead on this one already.
I've said many times, my problem when it comes to whiskey is I like them all.
You should get that. You should get a tattoo like that.
We should put a shirt.
Yeah.
When it comes to whiskey, I like them all.
And I'll get the tattoo version.
Because I do. So, no, I like rye whiskeys. I can't say I rank them as 1 and 2, but I do enjoy them at times.
Well, I love them, and Ken also loves them.
Yes,
so I'm going to be interested to see what he thinks of my lineup. But I got a good lineup here, I think. Budget ryes are a little bit harder because rye is more expensive to make. The mash is a little bit stickier, so it's a little bit more of a hands-on process for rye, so I'm told. So budget ryes, they're few and far between, whereas with budget bourbons, I feel like you have quite a bit of bottom shelf ryes. Yeah. Ryes, when it comes to like a really solid, like let's say a Willet for you, that's like $60. And I didn't want to have just a $60 lineup, so I tried to keep it anywhere from 20 to 40-ish bucks, and that was tough. Yeah. But we did it.
Good for you. I did it. You did. I didn't mess with this at all. Not at all.
The only thing that you're going to be doing is pulling them out.
Fine.
And I'm going to be rolling off the notes off the top of my noggin here because I don't write stuff down.
All right. No, you do not. All right. You want your first budget-friendly rye?
Yep.
Let's do it.
So my first one, to me, this is more of a quintessential rye, as you might say, with like a Wild Turkey 101 when you're talking about bourbon.
Sure.
For me, this is a Heaven Hill product. Rittenhouse has been around for a long time.
Yes, it has.
And this is one of the first ryes I think you got, and you didn't like it.
At first, I did not. And I specifically got it at the beginning, Trenton, because at the beginning I was primarily just mixing cocktails and really getting into the cocktail part of it. And so it like anything else, I first time I took a sip of peated Scotch, I hated it. But now I love it.
Wish I could say the same.
Yeah, so it's the same. It's kind of the same thing with rye. I didn't hate it, but it just wasn't my thing. But I've grown to like it quite a bit.
And for me, this is something that you started mixing in cocktails quite a bit, and I think I would kind of take a nip of it every now and then, and I started to really like it. It's 100 proof. It's around $22 to $25-ish depending on your area. Like we say in several videos when we were talking about pricing, it might differ in your area based on location, the market, all that kind of stuff. But when I bought this, it was $22, I think, something like that. For me, it's a really nice. I get a lot of sweetness on this one, which for a rye I think is a good beginner pour because it's not super spicy like you might equate a rye to be. It's like a little bit of like a caramely, a little bit of like an orange, and then like some nice rye spice there at the end. It's not super complex, and you're not going to get that from a $20-some rye.
I don't know about you, but on my sip, I got a little bit of black tea.
I don't just know a little bit what black tea tastes like.
Everything else, I'm 100% on top of what you're saying there too. A little bit of caramel, that rye spice at the end.
It's like an Arnold Palmer, the black tea. That's the only kind of tea that I've really ever had is the Arizona.
Just kind of like a tea, just a tea note.
I'll have to go home and chug some black tea.
Very good.
Next one.
All right, here we go.
We've talked about this one quite a bit, and I have to put it in here because it's such a good bang for the buck. I've seen this go for a little bit more. The prices have gone up a little bit on this one, which is unfortunate, but it's relatively available. I think this one runs anywhere from $25 to $29.
Is it? Went up a little bit then, huh?
And then you bought this one at Old Forester.
Yeah, and this is the 1 liter, by the way. So when Trenton's speaking, he's speaking of the 750s.
To me, this is quintessential Old Forester. I can even pick up a little bit of like a banana with the rye.
Yeah, I love this one. I really do. This is one of my absolute favorite budget ryes right here, Old Forester.
Even if you're looking for a rye for a cocktail mixer, this is fantastic. It's got a ton of flavor, great proof. There's 100 proof, obviously coming out of Old Forester. I don't think there's an age statement on it. Is this bottled in bond? I don't think this is bottled in bond. So there's no age statement on it that I'm aware of, but I love this thing. It's really hard to knock on it in any way. Given the price point, again, you're not going to get super complex flavor from a young rye that's $20-some.
Sure.
But man.
Yeah, I use it quite extensively for my rye cocktails. I really do. And I do use some other ones, but Old Forester is the one that I reach for the most.
I get like a toasted banana. Something. Like if you were to, not like when you take one of those hot dogs and you put it over a fire.
Sure.
You were to do that with a banana. little bit. You got a little bit of char on there. Probably coming from the barrel, but it's really nice.
Yeah, it's very nice. And it's from my memory, Trenton, you correct me if I'm wrong, but I don't believe this is a high rye mash bill. So, which kind of helps with a little bit more of the flavor profile for the bourbon drinkers out there.
I believe you're right. Again, I didn't do a ton of research on the specifics. Just budget stuff that I know that I like and I think is a good value.
Don't blame you.
So, next one is one that I picked up pretty recently, and I didn't have a ton of experience with up until a couple months ago. But it is the Old Overholt. This is the bottled and bond, so it's a 4-year-old rye. I believe Old Overholt was originally coming out of Pennsylvania.
Okay.
It says right on the label here that it's made in Kentucky. So, born in Pennsylvania, made in Kentucky. So I don't know the specifics on what's going on here now in terms of, obviously it's coming from Kentucky, but past that I'm not entirely sure. But I think this was $28, something like that. And it's more of a quintessential rye, I would say, than the Rittenhouse. I think the Rittenhouse has a little bit more of a sweetness in it, which I think makes it really good for cocktails.
I could identify that right on the nose, right when you said it.
If you like sweeter cocktails, if you're making like a nice Manhattan or something, for me, I would prefer the Old Overholt just because it's a little bit more rye forward and it doesn't carry as much sweetness as something like Rittenhouse.
For the longest time in our area, we didn't have Old Overholt bottled and bond.
Yeah, it was like the 80 or the 86.
Just a lower proof.
Yeah.
Excuse me. Just a lower proof. And luckily, we also, remember on one of our trips, we got the Old Overholt 114 proof.
Right.
Yeah. And this just came in our area not that long ago. I'm glad it did too.
So I'll say again, not a ton of sweetness on this one. It's a little bit like a leather couchiness kind of going on. A little bit. Maybe like you lick the sole of a shoe or something, fresh off a sidewalk. Maybe has some gum on it, something like that. To me, it almost has a toasty quality to it, along with that rye spice kind of towards the tail end there.
There is some leathery notes there. Yeah. That's what you're getting at, too. And there's a toasted quality there, too.
I'm glad I'm not the only one getting it. I was worried.
I'm not real familiar with this one yet, the bottle and bond.
Yeah, I noticed you haven't gone through yours quite a bit yet. There's a little bit of a sour fruit kind of thing mid-palate, I would say. Raspberry sort of.
Yeah, I was trying to identify that. There's something going on there. Some fruity tone. Sour fruit is excellent. And
it's delicious. So I'll kind of walk through, if you're not into rye, you're wanting to get into rye, I'll kind of talk about the pros and cons of each one once we go through the lineup.
Okay.
So that if you're looking for one, you might be able to not spend all your money on all 5. You can kind of tailor it towards one bottle.
Okay.
Next one. Admittedly, I did not have a ton of experience with up until we did a barrel pick at Blue Note a couple months ago.
Yeah, it wasn't just several months ago.
And we were talking with the folks over at Blue Note, and they were like, "Yeah, we have a rye. It's called Riverset," and I hadn't heard of it up until that point because Blue Note or BR Distilling out of Memphis, Tennessee. I said that wrong last time. I said Nashville, Tennessee.
Yeah,
Memphis, Tennessee.
Read that in the comments. Yeah.
They do not distribute where we're located at, so. We were talking with the folks, and they said that there's a liquor store, 10, 15 minutes down the road that had a really good Riverset Rye barrel pick that pretty much sold out. They had a couple bottles left. So we sped over there.
Yes, we did.
Pretty quick.
You were excited about that one.
And we picked one up. The guy was nice enough to give us a sample. I can't remember the name of the store.
I'm sorry, I don't.
But the store picks go for a little bit more. I think we paid $44-ish. So you're getting a little bit more of a jump from this $20-ish to this $44. Sure. I couldn't find a ton of good ryes that I would recommend in the $30 range. Because truth be told, there's not you have like Bullet, you have Dickel, and those, and I'm just, they're okay, just not my go-to.
Okay.
The Riverset Rye is I believe it's made by Green River Distilling Company out of Kentucky. And I absolutely love it. It was like one of the most viscous ryes at this price point and the age point. I can kind of compare it to Willet 4-year rye almost.
Yeah,
it's not as rye forward. It's a little bit more on the sweet side, but the viscosity.
Right.
Oh,
it's really, really good. And I don't know if you remember, my buddy from Texas also sent me a store pick of Riverset.
That's right. Yeah.
So right off the bat on there, I get a lot of spearmint on the nose. I also get it on the palate, but there's a beautiful sweet honey tone that goes with it too, like caramel maybe, honey tone. Follow through with that spearmint on the palate.
This is one that I would say, we might have talked about this before, but like a nice summer pour for certain things. I think this is fantastic. Like you said, it's got a little bit of honey in there. The mint's really nice. Yeah. It's more of a refreshing type. I would not use this in any kind of mixed cocktail ever. I think the flavors in here are
I
for me
either,
too good
and I
to mix.
think Yeah, I could tell there was a little bit of a bite there. This one's
Yeah.
115.6 proof.
Yeah.
Honestly, Trenton, if you're talking about a summer pour, that would be beautiful on a cube of ice.
Yeah.
It really, really would. That would lend wonderfully.
A little bit. Got caught with my Adam's apple.
Yeah, it will. It's got some some kick to it. That's why I say this would lend really, really nicely to some ice.
Yeah.
In my opinion.
One thing I will say, and the last bottle, spoilers, it's not a Willet product, but you get a really nice 4-year rye from this Riverset, and it's $15 cheaper than a Willet. And the proof point, since Willet ryes are single barrels, the proof on this Riverset, this is also single barrel, I guess. Mm-hmm. The proof is in a relatively similar range, within plus or minus 5 proof points.
Sure.
It's hard to beat that one.
Yes, it is.
That might be my favorite out of all of them.
I like it. But all right, buddy. What you got going on next?
Last one. We've talked about this a lot, and it's hard to leave it out of anything. And
so
this is the Pikesville Rye. This is what a 6-year-old rye, and it's 110 proof. Almost said 114. 110 proof. Another Heaven Hill product. Mm-hmm. I heard through the grapevine that this might have been discontinued, because it was not in some liquor store systems, like statewide systems that, like for inventory, it was just said, we don't know when this will be back in stock.
Oh, wow.
Which is weird. This used to be, and I debated even putting this in here, mm-hmm. because it's gotten a little bit more difficult to find, so much so that when I thought it was going out of stock, I bought a whole case.
You did?
I did. So this is one of my favorite ryes of all time.
It is.
And for the price, it's delicious. A lot of the proofier ryes that I found that I was kind of looking into were just $60, $70 or higher, and I was really aiming for a proof point that was $45-ish or below. For 110 proof, and this is the only 6-year on here. Everything else I believe is 4-year or younger. I apologize if I'm incorrect, but this is a 4-year, mm-hmm. And I don't know about this one, but you get a 6-year 110 proof rye from Heaven Hill for $42, I think.
Yeah, I do believe, Trenton, this is the very first rye bottle that I had down here in the bar that I actually truly enjoyed sipping. It's just that good. A lot of sweetness there. It absolutely does not drink up to that 110 proof mm-hmm. range at all. It sips below that. A lot of wonderful sweetness here. This one, I know for a fact, is a low rye mash bill for a rye whiskey.
Yeah.
So I'm sure that helps a lot too. With a bite, sipping below the proof.
Look at you doing your research there.
Wow, that's all memory, bro. Memory.
I do also have a special mention, just because I haven't seen it a ton, and it is a single barrel. This one in particular is a Binny's Journeyman Last Feather Rye store pick. I think in Illinois this was $65, which is a little high for the price point that I wanted to hit. Mm-hmm. And then there's also one, Trail did a Last Feather Rye pick also.
Okay.
And I think that was like $60, $65-ish.
Okay.
It's so good. The Binny's one isn't my favorite. It's a little bit like a double mint, spearmint kind of forward, sure. which I'm not a huge fan of. There is one from Trail Inn that I tried that was absolutely fantastic. Mm. So these picks are... I haven't seen any of them apart from these two, so maybe few and far between. But if you can find one of these, even the base rye is really good. But I think it's $49, and that was creeping up a little bit past what I wanted to be at.
I've had the Last Feather Rye down here a lot.
Yeah,
a lot, several bottles,
and it's really good. You can't go wrong with any of these, honestly. I think if you're getting into ryes and you're coming from bourbon, or you're not a huge fan of that rye spice, I think in all honesty, the Old Forester would probably be your best bet. It's really sweet. It's available. 100 proof, really nice. All right, 100 proof?
Yep.
Yeah, 100 proof. Mm-hmm. Very nice overall balance. You don't get hit with that rye spice really at all, I don't think, in that one. Mm-hmm. Rittenhouse is a very good starter rye as well, but it's on the sweet side, but you do start to creep into those rye characteristics that some people aren't super fond of. Old Overholt, I think, is a purely like a rye person's rye. If you're a bourbon fan and you're not a huge rye fan, I would maybe stay away from this one. And then Riverset and Pikesville, all around solid. I wouldn't use those as mixers. I think any of these would be good as mixers depending on the cocktail. But those are just for me straight pours, maybe over ice sometimes depending on how I'm feeling. But really, really solid lineup. If we missed any, or there's any that you wanted me to check out, I debated the George Dickel Rye, the Sazerac Rye, the Bullet Rye. Sazerac for me, I really only use for like the Sazerac cocktail. It's not something I drink neat.
I'm the same.
Okay.
There's some real specific characteristics of that sipping neat that doesn't agree with me too much.
Yeah.
You know, there's some anise notes in there and things like that. It's very unique, and I can see why some people absolutely love it.
Yeah, I can see that. Yeah.
You know, and it is
not my bag, though.
Fantastic in a Sazerac cocktail. Absolutely. Yeah, but I think you did a great job.
Thanks.
Yeah, man. I really
by myself. You had no input. Oh, Elijah
Zero.
Craig Rye.
Yeah,
I wasn't a big fan of that one. I get asked about that quite a bit.
Yeah,
not one of my favorite ryes.
I'm with you. I don't think I would have put it on a list like this. I think it's suitable. Yeah. It's a suitable rye. I don't hate it. I don't love it.
And what's interesting is that Heaven Hill. I would have thought that Elijah Craig, being a Heaven Hill product, that the Elijah Craig Rye might kind of go hand in hand in the ring with these two, but didn't make my list.
All right. Hey, that's all we got for you today. Thank you, Trenton. Great job. I've seen a lot of this in the comments. If you want to do one more of these videos on Friday, a lot of people are asking for bottle and bond.
Okay. Yeah, that's cool.
Our top 5 budget-friendly bottle and bond. I'll tell you what, I know it's the end of the video. A lot of folks don't watch the end of the videos, but if you catch this and you really want the bottle and bond show, please let us know, because if not, we'll move on to something else on Friday. So other than that, we appreciate you. As always, we ask you to drink responsibly. See you next time right down here with Trent and I on Friday in a good old basement bourbon bar. See you later.